Guys, I was talking the other day about my granddad. Now, my granddad was in the RAF during the Second World War, and he always loved it when he was in the RAF. He always had some lovely photo albums, and he'd always tell you stories about what he'd done and where he'd been. My nan passed away 10 years before my grandfather did. And after my nan passed away, I used to take my granddad out. And I used to take him to places that would take him back to his RAF days. We'd go to museums, we'd go to air shows, things like that. And there was one place I took him, and it was where he did his apprentice training when he first joined the RAF. He joined the RAF in 1936. He was 16 years old. He's born in 1920. And so he's 16 years old when he went into the RAF. And I think he signed up for 10 years. So from 1936 to 1946, which encompassed the Second World War. Obviously, he was there when it all kicked off. Now, he used to go to this, it was a training centre, and I've forgotten the name of it now. But it was still an active base when when I wanted to take my granddad there. It was still an operational base, but they had a museum on site to do with the apprentice training during the Second World War. And I got in touch with this RAF base, and they put me through to this fella who was in charge of the museum, and he gave me special permission to come and visit this RAF base. We had to take our passports, or I had to take my passport. I don't think my granddad had a passport, but I took my passport, and I told him all about my granddad, and he looked him up and he found him on the records. So I took my grandfather over to this RAF base where he'd done all his training. And yeah, you had to have your photo taken, you had to have an ID pass. And this fella came down from the museum to show us around. And he's really interested to ask my granddad lots of questions about the training he did. And he showed us around the museum. And my granddad was pointing out with the barrack blocks where he'd been, and that was the window he used to look out of. And that was the parade. We actually parked our car in the parade square. And he was telling me about, you know, all these things that had happened to him there. And it was a lovely, lovely time. My grandfather reminiscing over all the things he'd done. And again, being an old RAF base, nothing had really changed. It's not like they'd knocked the whole place down and built fresh. It was all still the old buildings. And he recognised it all, and that was so nice. I have lovely, lovely memories of that. Unfortunately, obviously my grandfather's passed on now, and I should imagine most of the people he did the training that he did are long gone as well now. But it was a lovely, lovely experience for me and for my grandfather. I think the fellow in charge of the museum has chuffed his nuts as well. He got a bit more information. But yes, what a lovely place to go. Right, I'm in a shaded section again now. This is lovely. And the last time I came down here, it was really muddy. So if I stick to the middle of the track, I should be okay. All the puddles seem to have gone away now, so that's good. Right, I'm going to sign out, guys. Lazy bye.